Jesus, you are lovely. From eternity you reign. And Jesus, you are holy. All of heaven sings your praise.
So the song Come Bless the Lord and Name Above All were the two easiest songs to write on the album. Those songs came out of a time of ministry with our student body. Basically what happens every year is we take our students up north into the jungles of Thailand and we have 2 weeks intensive focus of ministry, and we basically get completely off the grid, no phone, no Facebook, none of that thing. And we spend time together ministering in a village and just being together as a team. And this last year was different because we actually did 6 weeks of jungle trip, which is a really long time. And we had such a great time on that trip. But one of the amazing things that came out of that was some of the songs that we put on the album. And what would happen is, because we're in the middle of the bush, we had to find a hut that had some electricity, and we had actually carried our keyboard all the way from Siricha. It's like a 14-hour drive, and our acoustic guitar and computer and speakers and stuff, and we set it up in this little hut. And in the afternoon when I had some free time, I would go up there and write, and what we would do is I'd bring the songs back down to the camp in the evenings, and we would sing it with the students and show them the songs and the words, and then they would kind of play along with it, and we would actually take those songs and worship together at night using some of those words and stuff. And so that whole process I really loved, because it was a real team effort. It wasn't just about one person coming up with an idea, but we would test it with our student body first, and that's the way that we actually do our songs, is we test it with our student body, we sing it with them in chapel, and then from there we take it into our international church, and then from there we sing it when we go to other nations and do our conferences and stuff like that. So I just love that whole process, because what happens is the song, even though it's written technically by one or two people, and there's certain people who are putting melodies and different things into it, it's actually a song that comes out of the heart of the ministry of every single one of us. And it doesn't matter what position or what role we play in the ministry, these songs that we sing is the heart of everyone, whether they're working in kids ministry, or they're working in multimedia, or they're on the worship team, or they're a Bible school student. Every one of us have the same vision, the same purpose, and the same passion, and the same commitment to seeing God do the things that He wants to do in our ministry and through us. And so I just love the camaraderie that we have. Like, everybody is so connected to what we're doing. Everyone is so interested in what the other person is doing, and there's no clear lines of this is my area in ministry and I'm writing this song and don't you dare come and give me your feedback or your input. Every one of us are involved, and I think this is why our songs, when we sing them, are so powerful and meaningful to us, because we'll write a song here in Thailand and then we take it to Philippines, and at Summit we'll sing it, and everybody's just worshiping with such abandon and such passion. And it's because it's the song of our heart. It's not just one person's heart, but it's our collective heartbeat, the thing that God's put inside of us as a team, the thing that we want to release in the nations. And so we just really believe that you're also going to experience that too as you worship along with these songs, because these songs were created for us to worship to, not just to enjoy. And we just really trust that God's going to release that, the same thing that we feel in that atmosphere when we're worshiping together, the songs that are our prayer and our cry and our prophetic word, that you're also going to feel that when you worship to them as well.
We're ready.
We're ready, okay. Well, welcome to episode number 5 of our little series here.
Parts of purpose, parts of passion.
Yeah, that's it, yes. And we're just excited to be able to share these songs with you and the stories behind them, so that it really builds a heart for us to receive the faith that kind of comes out of it and that was birthed in it. So this is an exciting part of the ministry, Becky, as far as I'm concerned, and a very unique part. Not that other people don't have it, but to have a team like we have, and a lot of people say that, we got the best team in the world. And so I think to have the best team in the world, you'd have to have our team.
We're not picking a fight.
No, we're not picking a fight. But how do you express that? Because people do that. Say, we got this most amazing team. And an amazing team doesn't mean that everybody is always on top of their game and everybody's doing everything perfect all the time and that kind of thing. But I think if I was watching this podcast, which I do watch a lot of churches and ministries, I would want to know what's behind the scenes. So maybe we can go there to start with. What's behind the scenes of, you describe making this song up in the jungle, which is very unique. place to be, and I just love it up there. We
Yes.
spent 6 weeks there that trip. But what does that really look like? How do you describe that to people?
Well, I think the first thing, and we've touched on this before, is that makes it unique, and the reason why we get what we do out of our team is that we literally live together.
Right, true.
Same building,
Yeah.
meals together, all of that kind of stuff. So there isn't a huge separation between, I see you here at work, and then I go home, and home life is my life, and work life is our ministry life.
Right.
We literally 6 days, 7 days a week. How many days are there in a week? 7 days a week.
There's 7, yeah.
Working together, living together. And so you're really in each other's lives, you
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
And because it is that family atmosphere, you get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly in a way that I think a lot of times you don't get to see other places. And I mean, I remember even when I was on a missions trip when we were back in Canada for some years in junior high, and I went on a missions trip to Mexico with some people from church, and just being so shocked about
Right.
the person that I thought I knew, and then the person that they were. And I'm sure people felt that way about me too, right? I thought you were sweet little Becky, and here you are like having a tantrum over something, right? When you're in each other's space like that, you get to see things that you don't normally get to see. And because it's that family environment, then it brings us to that next level, which is we actually get to speak into each other's lives on
Right.
things that most other people wouldn't get a chance to because
True.
they don't really see it because we
Yeah.
know how to kind of keep it undercover,
Yeah.
And so Jungle Trip is one of those things where it really brings out the good, the bad, and the ugly inside
Sure
of each and
does.
every one of us as a leader and as students, right?
And I think that's why we do it.
Yeah, that's kind of the whole point, right?
Because we take pictures of everything, especially people that are crying.
Yes. Yeah, we like to commemorate it. Because otherwise, a lot of times, I think you can excuse bad behavior because you can, well, it was just in the moment or it was just or whatever. But when you're 6 weeks together in the jungle, you know what's actually a character issue and what's
That's true.
actually
You sure do.
didn't
You
get
sure
enough
do.
sleep.
And it is amazing. And the thing is, it's not amazing because we come together as amazing people. It's amazing. We become an amazing team because we are together. Jungle Trip, it's Bible college students. Well, some of them, it's their first year. They don't even know why on earth are you doing this. It doesn't even make sense to them, especially for some that are from areas like that.
Yes.
Like, why would you live in a tent when there's perfectly good houses in the next village?
Yes. Yeah, it's a bit strange.
And so all of that stuff, but then they soon catch on and begin to learn to help each other and work together. And so you see us grow and become a great team.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of finding great people somewhere and putting them together.
No, I think that's a myth. There's actually no great people anywhere. Everybody has that potential of greatness because everyone's created in God's image. So if you're waiting for the right person or the great person to come, I think you're going to be disappointed.
That's
What you
right.
have to do is invest in each other so that you become the great team and the great person that God's called you to be.
Yeah.
And you have to see the value in other people. And I think that's the beautiful thing about Jungle Trip too, is you see everybody when you're dealing through your issues and stuff. But at the end of the day, you're still just as loved, you're still just as cared for, you're still just as valued.
Yes,
You can be the
that's
guy
right.
that had a hissy fit by the campfire 5 minutes ago, and now you're the guy leading worship, right?
Yeah, that's
and
right.
so it doesn't, those things don't end up being an excuse, but they just end up being something that you learn how to get over, which
Right.
I think a lot of people don't get that opportunity because you
Yeah.
feel like I can't lead worship unless I'm perfect. I can't be in kids ministry unless I don't have any issues. And a lot of times we stop ourselves short because we're so aware of the issues that we have. But when you're placed in a team where it's like, yeah, I see the ugly in you, but God still wants to use you, so
Yeah.
get up there and do your thing.
it.
It
That's
gives
it,
you the
yeah.
confidence to recognize that it's never about your ability to perform the right way or about your own level of righteousness, but it's always about who Christ is in you and how you can overcome your own issues because of
Right.
who Jesus is.
Yeah. And I've been asked a number of times over the years by other missionaries and pastors, and they say, Al, where do you get such great people? And my response is, well, they're not great, but I find people that nobody's ever trusted before, and I trust them, right? I
Yeah.
find people that nobody's ever engaged before, and I engage them. Find people that nobody's ever let them do anything before, and I let them do something.
Yes.
And then that's what happens because you draw on the amazingness that's in every person,
Yeah.
and it is in there in every person. They just maybe haven't had the chance or the
Yes.
opportunity or the right situation.
Yeah.
And what we try to build with the whole Jungle Trip, the Bible College, with 7 weeks in Asia, with Victory Worship, all of that, is we try to build the condition or the situation where you can actually really, really grow
Yeah.
and really taste and discover what it is that your
Yeah.
purpose for. And I think that's a big thing.
Yes.
I mean, we traveled with you guys when you were little. We had 33 kids, and we spent 2 months every summer and pack you all up in a big truck or in what, sometimes we didn't have a vehicle, and we would go help people do crusades and that kind of stuff, play music and whatever, just so that each one of you could discover the gift. And it was really neat because I can remember, actually we came to Sirte, we were living in Bangkok and came to Sirte to help with the crusade. And the guy leading the crusade, he said, "No, we don't want a bunch of kids around here." And I said, "I tell you what, these kids will outwork whoever you got on your team." And they found their team sleeping under trees and stuff, and then they gave us a chance. And it was the funniest thing. We passed out more tracts and invited more people to the crusade than their team ever would, you know. And just because, give us a chance. And that's really what people are looking for, just
Yeah.
give us a chance.
That's right.
And
Well,
this
it's
is the
amazing
place.
to me because you have kids that come on 7 weeks in Asia, they've grown up in Christian homes and stuff, and then you put them in a situation where they're in somebody's house and it's like, okay, this grandma, has arthritis and pain, can you pray for her? And they're like, I've never actually laid hands on anybody and
Yeah.
prayed for anybody in my life, And there's such a fear and trepidation, and some kids will like start crying, they don't know what to do, like it's just so nerve-wracking, right? But we just ignore all that and say, okay, follow me, here's what we're gonna do, and you lay hands and I'll pray and then you pray. And just to see them come alive to the fact that I can actually be the person that does that.
That's right.
And then especially when you start witnessing the miracles, right? So like even our team that's on this trip this year, they were going door to door handing out flyers, and some guy was researching online. He was Googling about Christianity, which is, amazing. Google as an evangelist, because he knew that he wasn't getting what he needed out of Buddhism. He knew that it was false. And he had heard about Christianity and was trying to figure out how to find a church, and so hungry, and then we just happened to come with the team from 7 weeks, and those kids got to pray with that man and lead him to the Lord, and that's like their second day in Thailand or
man.
something, right? And so when you have that opportunity, it does make you just like awaken to the possibility that God can actually use me as I am right now, as a teenager, as somebody who's single, as somebody who has issues, as somebody who's divorced, as somebody who's had a past, who's had addiction, who's gone through depression or whatever,
right. Yeah.
right? There's nothing that can actually hinder you from the call of God on your life if you're given that opportunity.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
the other thing I wanted to mention, just with the parts of purpose and being a team, the other thing that we really do that's maybe a lot of other teams don't get the opportunity is we have a lot of time of prayer together and
Right.
worship together. And so that's one of the things that happens with Jungle Trip is that every evening, and then this year every morning, we were in Bible study together for the first part of the day. And so every day, twice a day, we were in prayer and in worship, And I think that's why those two songs came out so naturally, and both of those songs are very worshipful songs. The lyrics are just about magnifying who Jesus is and worshiping him. And I think when you have those elements together, you're as a family, there's opportunity for everyone on their good day or on their bad day, and there's a community of worship where you actually get to worship together. It does build something, because like I often think we're kind of taught that there's worship in private and there's worship in public. But when you look at the Bible verses, in Revelation and all these things, worship is always in a community setting, right? When Solomon dedicated the temple, it wasn't just Solomon in there by himself. The whole nation was there. And so I think a lot of times we take worship as something that's supposed to be private and personal. And like my really good times with God only come when I'm before him by myself, right? But really God's designed worship, because he's designed our whole thing to be around community.
Yeah.
And when you have those times of worship with your team and everybody's pressing in together, that's when the heavens are open. That's when God really speaks. That's when God really moves. And, every one of us have had powerful times of private prayer and worship in public times. But I really believe that God's designed us to worship together as a team, for our worship to be public. And he can move on everyone's life in that manner. And nobody's left behind.
Right.
Because you have some guys that'll come to worship and they're tired, they're dealing with
Yep.
something and they don't know how to get there. And the momentum of everybody else pushing them takes them to that place where God can touch their heart,
Yeah.
So I think it's important to make public times of worship in your team.
Right.
Doesn't matter how organized or A-type or whatever your team is, make worship part of your team,
Yeah.
and you'll really get breakthrough in the spirit.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And again, that's part of what we build around here is the opportunities for worship, and we absolutely, everybody just gets to love the worship. I mean, we come here once a week and just spend an hour just worshiping, no other agenda.
Yeah.
And those to me are just so refreshing and strengthening. And yeah, they just refresh you. They just get you back. So we want you to take advantage of this new album, Show Me the Greater. So YouTube, you can search Victory Worship Band, Show Me the Greater, and you'll find the songs there. Also, our website is victoryworshipband.com. The chord charts are on there and other information. You can download this album on just about any media outlet, and take advantage of them in the sense that you know the stories now behind these songs. If you missed some of these episodes, you can go back. They'll all be posted here. And then with that, you know, it just allow God to breathe new life into you, new life into what He's called you to do, into your purpose, and see the elements of your purpose. So we put these things together, we do the right things, we get the right result. And that's really our prayer for you. We really believe that God wants to use this at great effort and great expense to do this, but the purpose is that it'll inspire your purpose and get you going. And so otherwise, connect with us in the ministry. We desperately need a lot more people, kingdom-minded people, to work together with us. Come to Bible college and be part of our team. Come on 7 weeks in Asia, whatever it may be, become a partner of this ministry through our website, victoryasia.com, and all of the information you need is on there. And and talk about what God's doing in the nations of Asia, because that's our greatest advocates are advocates, right?
That's right.
They're the people that know what's going on and are excited with us. And so yeah, we're excited. So there's 5 episodes on Show Me the Greater, and we just believe you'll be blessed.